Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. This offseason feels like it's just dragging on. I cannot wait for the regular season to get here. But the draft's right around the corner, so that's exciting. And I wanted to come on here and do my first mock draft with you guys. Obviously, this is just for fun. I'm not a part of the team. I'm not over here influencing any picks, but it gets us kind of talking about team needs and who might be there at 30 and on, and how the draft may play out and which guys may fit best. And I feel like it's just kind of fun to do. So let's dive into it. I'm going to start a draft. We'll do a 4-round draft. Just to start, I'm probably not going to know some of the guys in the 5th, 6th rounds or whatever, but I feel like I got a good pulse on a lot of guys, especially of the positions that we need. So we'll start this. I got trades on too, so if there are any crazy trades, and we're up, and we do have a trade offer from Jacksonville for the 48th pick. Nah, I'm not moving back that far. Reject that. Carolina to move back 3 spots. See, that's interesting. It depends who's there. And you go into the 2nd round, so you lose the 5th-year option. So I'm going to reject it purely because of that. I like that extra year option for a guy. All right, so that's all the trade offers. Let's look through kind of the draft. I just want to see how it's simmed out here. Bowers going 6 is pretty early. A lot of quarterbacks, not surprised by that at all. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals, not surprised at all. Falcons grab Neighbors. That's a steal. He's going to be insane. A lot of tackles starting to go. Brian Thomas, receiver. Mims went at 18 to the op. I know that he's a guy that pops up in a lot. Keon Coleman going at 23, I feel like, is pretty early. I feel like there's a high chance that he's still there when the Ravens pick, but obviously not according to this. Chop Robinson just went. Cooper just went. Kool-Aid just went. A lot of defensive guys going off the board, but we got some guys available. Donnie Mitchell's still there. Xavier Worthy. Jordan Morgan. The Ravens obviously need a lineman, so I feel like that is most likely where this pick is going, but there's some quality wide receivers on the board, and I am super tempted to take Mitchell from Texas. Or Morgan. 6'5", 311. If we do go wide receiver first here, which I feel like Mitchell is the best player available. I know that we probably need a lineman more than that, but I swear Mitchell's the best player on this board right now. To me. I don't know if the Ravens would want to get another receiver, but I think it makes sense with Bateman's option unknown at this point. The draft's before we have to decide on Bateman's option and Odafe Owe's option. They're most likely not picking up both. So what are the Ravens going to do? I think a lot depends on the draft. If they draft a guy like Mitchell, they're probably not picking up Bateman's option. Even though he still will have a key role this year, I don't think they'll pick it up. I'm going with Mitchell. I just think that that's a steal at 30. It's best player available. So we locked it in. All right, let's see what the 2nd round has to offer. This is where the trades get a lot more interesting too. That 1st round means so much just because of that 5th-year option. So now I think I'll be a little bit more flexible to trade if it makes sense. We'll see if we get any offers at all. And we're up at 62, no trade offers at all. So we're just going to make a pick here. Quite a bit of D tackles are on this best available list. Braylon Trice is kind of interesting at edge. But man, if the Ravens don't go Let's see what linemen are even here. If the Ravens don't go linemen in the first 2 rounds, we're gonna have to make some alternative moves, whether that's through trading or somewhere else, because I don't love the lineman. I feel like I am reaching for a lineman at 62. I wish we would have got a trade offer, because I definitely would have taken that to acquire another pick. And I don't really think we need a D tackle either, even though this is probably the best player available. I think with signing Matabike, having Pierce back, having Travis Jones come up right underneath them, who's going to be the guy, it might not make a lot of sense, but they're not really going to draft off of need anyway. I'm going to take Trice at edge. Get some more edge depth there, some future edge depth. But now we need linemen bad. And I don't really want the Ravens to be in a position like that. I'm hoping that there's better players available in the second round on the offensive line. If not, then I'm leaning towards drafting one in the first round more often, because we kind of need an immediate starter. So now we get a trade offer from Minnesota to move back to 108 and acquire a 4th round next year. I'm going to reject that because we need a lineman. I really don't see this draft playing out this way, but we are desperate for a lineman at this point in the 3rd round, and I feel like there finally is a best player available. Jonathan Brooks in the 3rd round is honestly a great pick too, but I'm going to skip over running back just because Keenan Mitchell, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill is enough. I don't think that supersedes the lineman need that's kind of screaming at me right now. So I'm going to take this tackle from Yale. Big body lineman. I just feel like this is a good fit for the Ravens, and this need is very obvious at this point. So I'm locking that in. Crucial to land a solid lineman there. So now we're back up at 113. No trade offers. Now I feel like we can be a little bit more flexible. We're definitely going to have to draft more linemen in this draft. I think 2-3 linemen at the minimum, seriously, because we need to have an influx of youth and some linemen in the earlier rounds that can compete for the starting job right away, because we don't know exactly what we have, and I don't think the plan is to roll Voorhees, Ben Cleveland, and Makari or Falele at right tackle. I think that's too risky. I know a trade or some other move or signing a veteran free agent who's cut is a strong possibility as well. So it's not like we got to solve all the offensive line answers in this draft only, but I'd like to acquire more. But I think with this 4th round pick, I'm taking Josh Newton, cornerback from TCU. Senior. We also need some young corners on this team. We saw what happened with Humphrey last year. I don't expect him to have a injury-filled season quite like that, but he is getting older. Brandon Stevens' future as a Raven is unknown. I know he had a crazy year last year, but he's going to end up being a free agent. We don't know if he's going to price himself out and go somewhere else, or if the Ravens are going to keep him around. I just feel like we need youth for sure. And then looking at the board here with our other 4th round pick, I'm going to grab this guard, Mason McCormick, from South Dakota State, and get some more linemen in here. So this is what we ended up with. Donnie Mitchell in the 1st round, Braylon Trice, tackle from Yale, Josh Newton, Mason McCormick at guard. I like the outcome of this. 2nd round is probably what I'd want to improve more. I want a better pick there. Not that I'm mad at grabbing an edge. I didn't love the board in the 2nd round, and some of the linemen that I like felt like it was a massive reach to grab them that early. So I decided to go a different direction. I'm sure the Ravens will draft an offensive lineman in the 1st or 2nd round in the real draft, but just me going off best player available and not like really wanting to reach, I went with this and still was able to kind of get some needs, some linemen, and I feel like grabbing Adonai Mitchell is massive and really keeps the Ravens having a young, strong receiving core for years to come. You'd have Zay and Mitchell side by side. Who knows what happens with Bateman, but at that point, you got 4 or 5 years together with 2 studs, in my opinion, and I think that building through the draft at receiver is not a bad strategy, because look at these contracts they're getting. The Ravens obviously don't have a ton of cap room, so grabbing a best available receiver, never a bad idea. And if Mitchell's there at 30, it's going to be very, very tempting not to take him. So I had to pull the trigger, but I also totally understand if they want to go with a lineman. Morgan was still there. I feel like he's a really good fit. But that's what we ended up with on this one. I'm going to do another mock draft before the draft gets here too. I just kind of wanted to get my feet wet, do one with you guys. Let me know who you guys are wanting at 30, who you guys see as value picks in the second, third rounds, especially with the offensive linemen too. I feel like that clearly is the Ravens' biggest need. But that's it for this episode. I appreciate you guys as always for coming through. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim there where the sense can't tame the untamed.